So I'm pretty sure by now you guys are, I don't want to say sick of hearing about ball pythons, but you guys are probably wondering when I'm ever going to put out a video something other than ball pythons. Well, this video will not feature any ball pythons. It'll actually feature two different kinds of snakes. Actually, I'm going to show you 3 snakes in this video, but 2 types. And these snakes are, in my opinion, really easy to take care of, and it's a wonder why you don't see them more often in the reptile hobby, because they're both of these snakes you're going to see today are absolutely beautiful. They stay quite small, they don't need a lot of space or room, and I find them really easy to keep. So without further ado, let's go to the first one, which, if you guys have been looking at this video, you guys know what it is. It is the Rhino Ratsnake, also sometimes called the long-nosed green snake, and I believe the scientific name is Rhinocophis boulangeri, or Rhinocophis boulangerie, I guess, if you're gonna say it English way, or whatever, if you're gonna say it with an English accent. But to me, that last part of that scientific name looks French, so I'm gonna say it the French way, boulangerie. Esti. Alright, so you guys can see right away that these snakes obviously enjoy soaking. These snakes actually come from a higher elevation, so they're used to a more humid type of climate. You find these guys in Asia. And they're a snake that doesn't get too big. Typically, they're going to get anywhere between 3 and 5 feet, and rarely will they get bigger than that. Obviously, as is most often the case with snakes, the females are going to be bigger than the males. So this is our female that we have here. We actually purchased a pair off of Jeff at Exclusive Snakes. He's one of the only people, I believe, that's actually working with these guys up here in Canada. Well, obviously now we're working with them too, and there may be a couple of other people that have pairs that I don't know about right now, just because I haven't been keeping up with the forums, so I'm not up to date on who has what, who's working with what. But I believe that Jeff almost sells out every single year, and he actually has a list, a waiting list for these guys. It seems to be that people really like these, but you still don't see them too often in the pet and reptile trade. So maybe there's something to breeding them. I'm not too sure. I honestly haven't even began to look at how to breed these guys, just because our male is kind of small still. Our female is almost ready to go, but our male may need another year. So anyways, enough of me talking. Let's kind of move that snake. Now what you guys will see is that I'm going to use a snake hook to move her, just because I never handle these guys at all. I used to handle them a lot when they were babies, and they were very easy to handle. Now the only time they ever see me is when I'm feeding them, so this female will open her mouth a lot, but they're pretty easy to handle. You can see she's actually quite big. She looked small when she was all rolled up in there, and she's sticking her head out, but you can see she's pretty calm. Really nice looking snake. Let's get a close-up of those scales, how awesome they are. The black in between the scales is really nice, and you guys can see there's also a little bit of white patterning along the first third of the snake. And yeah, just a really nice snake. And that rhino horn, I guess you could call it, at the front of their nose is actually not a horn at all. It's just an appendage. It's very soft, it won't poke you or nothing. And sometimes they could actually break that off. Oftentimes wild-caught specimens will have that damaged. Sometimes they'll also be damaged if the cage is a bit too small, and right now the cage that we're using for her is kind of small. We're limited on space, but we're going to get her into a 40-gallon pretty soon. Something that is actually at least 40-gallon long. May actually go with something like a 75-gallon, which is just basically a 40-gallon long but a taller one, because these snakes are arboreal. They love to climb. And the reason why she soaks so much is because we actually don't have any heat on her right now, but the room she's in is the corn snake, king snake, basically all the colubrids and the geckos, the leopard geckos and the the Nephirus geckos are all in the same room, and they have heat underneath their cages, but our colubrids don't have any heat underneath their cages because when we're warming up their cages to 90 degrees, basically the ambient of this room always stays at about 82. On a really hot day it'll be 85, which is perfect for these guys. Rhino rat snakes could actually live between 79 degrees, and you could provide them with a basking spot of 88 degrees. Obviously we do not provide a basking spot. Like I said, we don't have heat lamps on them. But a really nice looking snake. See if we could get a little bit of a closer look at the face. And as you can see, these guys aren't mean at all. I wish it would focus a little better, but... And when we actually got these guys, they were gray. So for those of you who are wondering why, well, basically they have an ontogenetic, I believe that's what it's called, color change. Or, I don't know if that's the proper word. Basically, I'm looking to try to tell you guys that when these guys are born, they're actually gray. And as they get older, they develop this green kind of turquoise color. Now, typically Rhino rat snakes either be turquoise, or they will sometimes be very lime green. We got lucky, well, in my opinion, we got lucky because we have two animals that are turquoise, so I really prefer that color as opposed to lime green. I just wanted to show you guys this. She's actually about to shed. I didn't even realize that before, but you guys could see where the vent is and how long her tail is, even for a female. And that again is because they are arboreal snakes, so they need to have that nice and long prehensile tail. So now I'll show you guys the male. The male tends to be a lot more arboreal than the female. Actually, the male, we can just lift the lid here, and the male is not as friendly as the female. And the male actually is quite small because he did not want to eat rodents for a very long time. He was only eating fish, and fish are not too high in calcium, and just like there's certain fish that have thiamine in them, which we have heard is not good for the snakes, though I don't really know the science behind it. So we were basically feeding him guppies and rosy minnows on occasion, because somebody had told us that even rosy minnows have quite a bit of thiamine in them. So we would never feed this guy goldfish, and because of that he's kind of small. But you guys can see his horn is actually really nice. Let me see if I could zoom a bit. Not too much. A little too much. But yeah, that's the male. So you guys can see the male is considerably smaller than the female. And he does not look too pleased right now. But even he is not too bad. So that's the Rhino rat snake, guys. And obviously, like I said before, these guys come from a higher elevation. They require some humidity. These guys, honestly, let's say if you were the type of person that wants to get into green trees or emerald tree boas, and you don't like the Amazon, because everybody says get an Amazon tree boa if you want experience, if you want a little bit of experience with tree snakes. But Amazons are very, very bitey. These guys are not, so I find they're a great alternative for somebody who's looking into getting arboreal snakes. So if you guys have them available to you, honestly, I can't recommend a Rhino rat snake enough. These guys are doing great for us. They're eating like pigs now, both of them, and we look forward to breeding these guys in the future. So guys, up next here we have a garter snake, but this isn't your typical garter snake. This is a Californian red-sided neon blue garter snake, or I'm just going to refer to it as the Californian garter snake. No, well, we might as well call it the California red-side garter snake. That seems to be what most people call it. So this snake, and the scientific name is a mouthful, it's Thamnophis Sertalis infernalis. Kind of a cool scientific name there, kind of a cool Latin name, infernalis at the end there. So this is our female. She's actually the biggest of the 4 we currently have. We actually have 3 males and only 1 female, and we're thinking of selling one of the males that we have. The reason why we're going to keep 2 males is that I believe Joseph has heard that it's better to have a backup male just in case. So this is the female, and typical garter snake attitude, especially because we never handle these guys. Very, very quick to pee on you, quick to musk, all that good stuff. Absolutely beautiful though. And you basically keep these garter snakes as you would any others. Really, really easy to take care of. You keep these guys at room temperature if you want, honestly. Again, we keep them in the colubried room, so the temperature never really exceeds 85, and the lowest it'll go probably in winter is about 80. And we've had good success with these guys thus far. One of our males took a little while to move on to pinky mice, and now with these guys we've heard a couple theories on what exactly you're supposed to feed them. One guy's actually told me that you shouldn't even feed them any mice, you should feed them cat food, I believe, which seems kind of odd to me, but these guys love basically anything that's smaller than them that'll move in front of their face. This female is an absolute beast when she eats. Right now she's eating 2 pinkies at a time. She's almost at the point where I could give her a fuzzy, but still not fully confident on that yet. I would rather go slow with these guys so as to avoid any potential regurges. Sometimes when snakes tend to regurge, and it'll take them a while to get back onto food. But in the wild, these guys will eat basically anything they could get their mouths on. A lot of fish, a lot of frogs. They eat a lot of cold-blooded prey, so sometimes it could be a bit of a pain to get these guys onto rodents. But it was pretty easy for us. What we would basically do is we started them off on fish, on small fish, because these guys were so small. They were like 5 inches total length, which for a snake is absolutely tiny. Baby snake at 5 inches, like fully stretched out, it's 5 inches. Basically, they could almost get rolled up. If they were like rolled up, they'd be the size of a quarter almost. So they started on fish, small guppies. And from there, we kept feeding them. We fed them very often, the fish. These guys have a little bit of a faster metabolism, so we feed them smaller prey items a little bit more often. Sometimes they'll eat about 3 prey items a week. And right now, they're growing good off of that. They're not looking too fat. They're growing at an appreciable rate. So we're going with what works so far for these guys. We spray them down once a week. We give them their water bowls because they love to swim, these guys. So nice big water bowl for them. And I kind of went on a tangent there, kind of skipped some information, but basically how we got them onto rodents was we would take pinkies and we would tongue feed them the pinkies in their water bowl because they got used to jumping into their water bowl and grabbing fish. I actually think I have a video up on my YouTube channel of this female eating a rosy minnow. But let's see if we could show her a bit. And again, these animals we purchased from somebody in the States. I can't recall his last name, but I'm pretty sure his first name's Scott. It was Joseph who dealt with him. Joseph will usually deal with most of the breeders in the States. Most of the breeders, period, basically. I'm not too social. I'm not too friendly like Joseph is. But let's see if we could get her to be calm. It really sucks right now that I can't get this cage out. It's like wedged in there, or else we would be able to get an even better look at her. But she is just fantastic to look at. And she's actually being really nice right now. I'm surprised she isn't latching or trying to lash out at me and grab me, because her feeding response is intense. But again, these look incredible. They actually don't hide too much. They're often out in the open, and they'll climb, they'll swim. Very fun snake to own. You can actually even feed these guys insects. Like I said before, fish, frogs, they'll eat anything basically. Really, really cool animals. Hopefully we'll have some luck breeding these guys, but we'll probably only breed them in probably a year, 2 years, maybe even more. Typically they get about 3 feet, the females, sometimes over. So that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed looking at these two uncommon snakes, which again, I said it a million times in this video, don't understand why you don't see more of the red-sided Californian Garter and Rhino Ratsnake in the reptile hobby, because when it comes to looks, I don't think there's much that beat these two snakes. I mean, this snake here is bright red. It will get a little bit bluer as it gets older, especially the underside. The underside is going to be blue. And the red really pops as they age. They get beautiful with age. And I wasn't even focusing on her there. Oh boy. But that's the video, guys. If you have any comments on these animals, just let me know in the comment section down below if you have any questions. Thanks, guys. Take care.